I asked Michael Loxley during Big Ten Media Days this summer. You've had the secondary play, future NFL players there. You've had speed and space on offense. Do you finally have the personnel, the mindset, the toughness up front on both sides of the ball to compete with the big boys in the Big Ten? What was he going to say? Of course, he said yes. Well, that first test was coming in Columbus on Saturday. For Ohio State, after a close shave, closer than any you could imagine, in South Bend, was Ohio State able to stave off Maryland, continue to improve, and get ready for later contests with Penn State and Michigan. All right, welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your participation. Buckeyes win it over the Terps 37-17, but it was much closer than the final score would indicate. Let's go to the first series. Ohio State 3 and out on offense, and it was actually worse than that because when they lined up in punt formation, they had a bad snap. It looked like a fake punt, and with only a 4th and 2 situation, I thought when it was live, well, they went for a fake punt, and they're relying on the defense and showing some confidence in the defense. Well, no, it was just a bad snap that went right to the up man, Cody Simon, who had to field it like a shortstop, trap the football on the ground, and then try to make something of it, and almost got the first down, but Maryland takes over at the Ohio State 30, convert quickly. Corey Dyches on the jet sweep for 15 yards, and then one of the more beautiful catches you will see this season, Caden Prather, the West Virginia transfer, trapped the ball with his left hand against his body while his right hand was being pinned down, as is typical with Davison Igbinosun in coverage, and Maryland led it at 7-0. Ohio State tried to run the ball. They committed to the run. They tried over and over and over, but especially inside, they could not run the football. Chip Tranum started. Travion Henderson on the shelf with a bad ankle, but the running backs are not the issue. It's the offensive line, especially on the interior. So we will address that later in the video. Will Ryan Day address it? I'm sure it's being addressed every day in practice. They just came off a bye week, but some of these improvements, upgrades that we are expecting out of certain teams are difficult to do mid-season, and especially along the offensive line. But that's what is going to be needed for this team to win a championship, I believe, at least to a certain extent. Need some semblance of a running game, no doubt, with an inexperienced quarterback who's getting experienced awfully quick. So Ohio State had another 3 and out. They actually got a first down in there on a one Kyle McCord completion, who only started 1 for 5 with a 13-yarder and only started 5 for 12. So he started slow. And also Maryland got 3 sacks, and they were basically because Kyle McCord held on to the football. So for as much as we criticize the offensive line, and justifiably so for the lack of a push in the run game, the pass pro's been good. Kyle McCord just has held on to the football too long, and I think he got schooled throughout the game by Ryan Day, and it got better in his decision-making, and trigger timing got better throughout the game. But early in the game, as Joel Klatt pointed out, he was not going through his progressions, and he was checking down way too soon. He still had time. He had a clean pocket. And even if there was a rush man coming in from the edge and he was able to step up in the pocket, he still was safe. He still was good for another beat or two. And he just didn't give the receivers time to break open. That would be corrected. But in the first half, it was awfully ugly for the Ohio State offense. It could have been awfully ugly for Maryland on a muffed punt by Corey Doley. And then it was Glenda Miller who was Johnny on the spot, or it could have been disaster on that play for Maryland as they led 7-0. JT Tuimoloau had some big stops in the backfield, most notably on a 4th down play in which Billy Edwards came in to relieve Talia Tagovailoa at the Ohio State 29. So the Buckeyes held there at their own 29-yard line when Maryland was threatening again. Jayson Jones with a huge catch on a beautiful back shoulder play to the Ohio State 6-yard line, but the Buckeye defense, once again, say what you will, I know that the standard is high. They get critiqued and criticized highly, but the point was made a number of times during the game, giving up 8 plays of at least 40 yards to Georgia and Michigan last year, 0 this year. That includes against Notre Dame and against Maryland, and a Western Kentucky offense that is high-flying as well, with Austin Reed at quarterback. So the Ohio State defense came to play, and it was needed, or it could have been 21-0. They held inside the 5-yard line. Maryland kicked the field goal to go up 10-0 at that point. Again, the Ohio State pass protection, good. The run push in the run game was awful by the offensive line. And then Josh Proctor sparked this team. Beautiful play as he read it, jumped the route, picked it off, ran it for a touchdown, pick 6 for the Buckeyes. Ohio State led 10-7. It would be interesting to note the last time Ohio State had a pick 6 in a major Big Ten game against a suitable opponent. It seems like it's been a long time. On some of these plays, you wonder on the offensive side of the ball for Ohio State whether the offensive line actually have targeted and know who to block. Before they can execute, you need to know who to block, and that's not always an easy task considering blitz packages, uneven lines, different formations, multiple packages presented by the defense. So I think many times offensive linemen are lost. Either they hit their man and go to the second level and there's nothing there and they don't know where to find the next guy, and many times they just don't get to the second level. I'm not saying it's not a physical issue, that they're not consistently beat at the point of attack, because it's that as well. But sometimes the assignments are just not clear-cut for Ohio State in regards to their offensive linemen being able to determine their assignments on the fly. Ohio State at its own 40 on a 4th and 1. This was telling. Ryan Day did not go for it. An aggressive play caller and coach who believes in his offense. He preaches belief in his offense. Should have had confidence in the defense at this point in a 10-7 ball game, but he punted. Unfortunately, the punt was horrible. The punt wasn't awful. The return went for 27 yards, plus there was a 5-yard penalty on the Buckeyes, so they basically gained about 10 yards on the exchange, but the defense held again inside the 40. So in this 10-10 game, we take it to halftime, but before we do, couple interesting series here. Ohio State finally cut it loose. Kyle McCord, 58 yards to Marvin Harrison, who made his way through the blown coverage, was wide open on the play. Kyle McCord in those situations, I know it's safe to underthrow the ball because you want to make sure that you've got the big play and you get the completion. However, he tends to underthrow the ball too much. But they couldn't run the ball. They had the big play to Marvin Harrison for 58 yards, then another play down the sideline in which he stayed out of inbounds, and that he was able to juke a couple defenders, get the ball inside the 10-yard line, but Ohio State couldn't run the ball into the end zone. Kicked the field goal, 10-10. Maryland got the football back, drove down the field, but they blew it and were stopped at the Ohio State 13, or stopped themselves when the time ran out. Mike Loxley burned a timeout when he should not have. He needed to save that for the field goal, did not, and Ohio State dodged a bullet at the end of the first half as Maryland ran out the clock at the 13-yard line. But Terps get the ball to start the second half, and they march. 9 plays for 75 yards and the touchdown. Beautiful drive, throwing, catching, running the football. It was all working on that one, but Ohio State comes right back. So down 17-10, finally get the offense generated again, and this time complete the drive. There was a pass interference call against the defender covering Marvin Harrison. Then the sliding catch by Julian Fleming. Beautiful comeback to the football on a poorly underthrown ball by Kyle McCord on that one. But that got the Buckeyes inside the 5. Chip Tranum made it to the corner, and Ohio State completed a quick 4-play, 76-yard drive to make it 17 all there. And this is when Ohio State took over, led by the defense. Next drive, Lathan Ransom had a huge hit. Even though I hate to see that because the receiver got a 10-yard play and the first down, Ransom was proud of his hit, and it somewhat fired up the defense. But Then Denzel Burke really laid the lumber on a play in which the Ohio State defense stopped the Maryland offense. And then Ransom with the interception as he leaped for the football, may have been hidden in coverage as Talia rolled left and threw into traffic. Ransom with the pick led to a field goal to make it 20-17. Cade Stover with a 44-yard touchdown. Is the next time the Buckeyes got the ball, they went 8 plays for 75 yards. So the 4 consecutive drives for Ohio State were picture perfect, except for the run game at times. This was generally all through the air. JTT, Sonny Styles, and Davison Igbenogson had a huge fourth down stop, the one in which JTT came off the corner, stopped the runner, didn't complete the play, and that's one thing I would like to see out of him. Many times he gets penetration, gets a hand or gets a shoulder into a runner or quarterback, doesn't complete the play, and that's great that he initiated the play. He got the stop in regards to slowing down the runner enough for it to be cleaned up by other players. However, you would like to see an elite player finish that most of the time. Can't be done all the time, but that was a big stop on 4th and 3, as you got to question Michael Locksley on this one for what a great job he did preparing his team for this game, preparing his team the entire season to start at 5-0. They're down by 10 points with 8:40 left. They've got the ball at their own 17. He goes for it, and that was your ball game right there. Marvin Harrison on the touchdown, called back, but you know what? No big deal. Marvin Harrison on the very next play for the post route in which he was settled into the zone. It was a post, but he didn't take it to the post. He settled in after initially running the post, but once he went into his break, he saw the soft defense and the coverage at the goal line. 8 catches for $163 and 1 touchdown. Good to see Marvin Harrison targeted, getting the ball. One of the best players in college football, needs to be the guy in this offense. So the Buckeyes there go up 34-17. That's all she wrote, except for you folks that may lay a penny or two on the football games, because Ohio State got another defensive stop on a 4th down play, converted the field goal, and won it here 37-17. All right, for Maryland, they take their next shot at one of the big boys in the Big Ten against Penn State in 3 weeks. Before that, you would think that they could defeat Illinois and Northwestern to run their record to 7-1. This is a good football team at Maryland. They're a top 20 or 25 team in the nation. Should probably actually, if people paid attention to the flow of the game and the competitive nature of the game, actually raise their stock this season or this week after they were not ranked by the traditional services because of their effort in Columbus, if Ohio State is truly one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the country. For Ohio State, the pass offense, we'll give it a B. Kyle McCord threw for 320 yards. Yes, he missed some throws. Also completed some balls that were underthrown, but he was playing it safe on those, I guess. It's more about the run game. The run game's a D, maybe. D-. Chip Tranum did all right. Again, it's not the running backs. Mayan Williams, late in the ball game, ripped off some nice runs, buried some safeties and defensive backs on their back. But, man, it's bad, and it's got to get better. They've got to have some semblance of a running game. They cannot lay this all at the feet of Kyle McCord. And even though these elite receivers are there, a run game would open it up for them as well. The defense, you cannot fault this defense in any such way. Yes, the rush defense got moved on a little bit here and there. 35 rushes for the Terps for 106 yards. Roman Hemby, their 1,000-yard rusher from last year, only 35 yards on 8 carries. The pass defense, I'll give an A- to. I thought they were exceptional in coverage for the most part. Those Maryland receivers, Ty Felton, and the other guys that we mentioned, Jayshon Jones, they're going to make plays. And Talia Tagovailoa, a top 10 or 15 quarterback in college football. Ohio State wins 37-17. Next up for the Buckeyes, a trip to Purdue, which has been a historic nightmare for Ohio State, of course. Not just talking about the last time they went to West Lafayette in 2018, but historically going back to the 80s, not nearly as good a record there as what it is in all other Big Ten venues. But that is the next game for Ohio State before a trip to Columbus by Penn State. Your thoughts about Maryland football down in the comments below. Ohio State as well, right here at the Voice of College Football. Join us each and every Wednesday for our Buckeyes live show at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on our Ohio State channel. And, of course, our big call-in show to wrap up the weekend every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at the Voice of College Football.